Hi, I'm Anthony from Learning to Play the Guitar. In this video I'm going to look at the book Rhythm Blues by Robben Ford. This book is a fairly short book, only 16 pages long, but it's a really good book for intermediate players wanting to develop their rhythm guitar playing in the blues, and also get into a little bit of the jazzy side of playing blues. The book is divided into three sections: funky blues, shuffle blues and slow blues, and here I'll play you some of the examples from each section. The first example I'm going to show you here is Funky Blues, example number 3. This is a simple version of a 12-bar blues in C using C7, F9 and G7 chords with a little intro and outro lick. The next example here is the Funky Blues example number 4. This one's a bit more sophisticated with some other jazzier chord shapes being thrown into the mix here, including a C7, sharp 9, sharp 5, F sharp diminished, a D9, a G7, sharp 9, sharp 5 and a G sus4. This introduces the idea of the master rhythm here, which he uses in some of the other examples in the book. So moving into the shuffle blues section of the book, there's multiple examples here as well. The first example I might just talk about really briefly is example 1, where he's using the idea of what's called dyads or 2-note chords. And so instead of having the full example here of say a B flat 7-bar chord, he's just going to play 2 notes of the chord, which are going to be the A flat and the D on fret 6 and 7. And so with that simple idea of using these 2 notes, we can slide them over 1 fret this way. And these 2 notes come from an E flat 7 chord, which is a G and a D flat at the moment. If we add the E flat bass note here, then we have an E flat 7 with a bass note. But in this case, we're just going to have the 2 notes. So we've gone from B flat to E flat with 2 notes. Really simple. Instead of having to go from that to even that, we've just gone 2 notes. And the other example he has here, F7, but these 2 notes, which again come from that triangle shape or the C7 shape if you like, from there. So just using those 3 shapes, you can outline the harmony of a blues, in this case a blues in B flat. So next up we have Shuffle Blues example number 3. This one again delves into some more jazzier chord shapes if you like, more sophisticated harmony, adding in things such as a B flat 13, which is a fancy 7th chord, E flat 9, again a fancy E flat 7 chord. There's also a great chromatic passing chord section in bar 4 of the example, going from a B flat 9 to the E flat 9. So watch for it in the example. Now I've got Shuffle Blues example 5. This one definitely goes into jazz territory to me. A bit like a big band swing style guitar part. A lot of complicated harmony happening here going through. So the advanced harmony in this tune involves things using what I might call a chromatic leading chord, or another way of looking at it, as Robben calls it, you can look at them as tritone substitutions, which we'll talk about a bit later. He mentions this in the audio, but it's actually not written in the book. So that's one of the negatives of the book, is that it shows these examples, but it doesn't really explain what's going on unless you listen to the audio that comes with the book. So moving into the slow blues section at the end of the book, The example here is Slow Blues example number 3. This one again uses lots of jazzy, complicated harmony to play a blues in a slower style with a master rhythm being used again throughout the entire tune. The more sophisticated chords here include a C7 sharp 5, an F sharp diminished, a G sharp 5, an A7 sharp 5, and an A flat 13. Some really cool chord changes in this example. So overall, the examples and the ideas presented in this book are really good, but the negative thing about this book is that there's not much explanation within the text of the examples of what's going on in terms of the harmony and the idea that he's playing. But he does talk about this on the audio, which is whether you got the old version like I have or the audio CD. I think the new version you can download MP3s to play along with the book, which helps to explain what he's playing and what he's doing. So it would have been good if they actually wrote that in the book as some text, because sometimes you might not have the audio with you and you can just look at that and read the information there. Also keep in mind that this book is aimed more for intermediate players, so it's assuming a bit of knowledge about the blues, the structure of the 12-bar blues, the idea of what 1, 4, 5 chords are, and also assumed knowledge that you know that a 9th and a 13th chord are just extended versions of a dominant 7 chord, because he's using a lot of these chords throughout the book. One further addition that would have been good for the book would be to include a chord numbering system explaining some of the harmony of the more jazzy or more sophisticated examples. For example, if we're looking at the chords of Funky Blues example 4, there's a little turnaround at the end where he's using a 6-2-5-1 progression. He doesn't talk about this at all, but it's basically the progression where it goes from A7 to D9 to G7 to C9 at the end of the tune. It's a really cool turnaround, but he doesn't really explain what's going on there beyond, hey, these are these chords, aren't they cool? However, overall, it's a great book to learn some really cool blues rhythm ideas which you can use within funk and jazz as well. If you own a copy of the book, let me know what you think in the comments below. Subscribe to the Learning to Play the Guitar YouTube channel for more lessons, and don't forget to click on the bell to receive notifications when I upload a new video. You can also check out my books and more lessons at my website learningtoplaytheguitar.net. Thanks for watching and keep practicing. So within the Shuffle Blues example 5, there's a couple of fancy things going on here. Basically it's a blues in B flat, but he's adding in these leading chords to go back to the main chords, the main 1, 4, 5 chords if you like. So the 1 chord here would be a B flat 7, the 4 would be an E flat 7, and the 5 would be an F7. But he's got these, what you could label as chromatic, like one step away chord to the correct chord, or he's calling them tritone substitutions as well, which is basically a dominant 7th chord, a flattened 5th away from the original. So basically if you had a B flat 7, you can go to the tritone substitution of that would be an E7. So it's a tritone away, the old devil's music way. Think of Black Sabbath and all that. So what he has here, for example, he has a B flat 13 at the start of the tune, and then he also then jumps to an E13, which is then similar sounding, but it's based around the idea that's your E in the bass versus the B flat in the bass. So we have B flat 13 versus E13. But to me that can also be labelled, that's one chromatic step away from E flat 9. So it could be going E9, E flat 9 if you're going that way. So it also could be looked at as a chromatic step down. A la songs like Jailhouse Rock where you have a wrong chord to a right chord creating a little riff or a pattern.